A wonderful morning to everyone who has joined today. From Manage Engine family, we would like to extend our warm welcome and sincere thanks to all our customers, partners, and users who are interested in our solution. Endpoint management and security is one of the main focus area of the Manage Engine. So in today's training, there will be two trainers. Let me introduce myself. My name is James, and I'm a product specialist with Manage Engine. I take care of endpoint management products, including Desktop Central. I assist customers in their implementation, consultation, and troubleshooting in case of any challenges. I've got my colleague, Ruben, who's a senior product specialist with Manage Engine 2. Welcome to Desktop Central training. Let's quickly look at the training schedule. We are on week 4 and we'll be looking through asset management for modern devices, that is Windows 10, 11, and Mac devices. This is one of the modules of our endpoint management and security suite. We have covered a couple of modules over the past weeks, and we are currently running on week 4 training. In case if you have missed any of our training schedules, you can always view them on the link that is shown at the bottom of the screen. If you are interested in the upcoming training, please use the same link to register yourself. A good news, we are providing a training participation certificate upon completing the training series successfully. Now let's look at the asset management module. Let me talk about the agenda. So we will be looking at the overview of Desktop Central, and I will be explaining on how to identify unauthorized application, managing software license, and the Service Desk Plus integration. And my colleague Ruben will be explaining about the deploying corporate configuration to modern devices, managing content, securing data in the lost devices. So to make this session interesting, I've picked up a scenario. So John is responsible for managing distributed workforce. When I say distributed workforce, that means both the intranet workers as well as the work from home and roaming users, and the workers who are working from a branch office. And I've had this scenario to show you both the on-premise as well as the cloud architecture. Now, what is Desktop Central? Desktop Central is an endpoint management solution that ensures all your endpoints are secure and enables the user to use them effectively for business. A popular research analyst called Forrester defines UEM as follows: a product that provides a centralized policy engine for managing and securing employee laptops and mobile devices from a single console. In unified endpoint management, you can manage endpoints in a traditional IT management fashion, which includes patch management, application management, configuration deployment, OS deployment, tools for troubleshooting, and day-to-day management activities. Similarly, endpoints can also be managed by modern management. Now, all modern operating systems supports modern management. The features are geotracking, geofencing, managing Microsoft Store application, profile distribution to enforce restriction, operating system reset and recovery. Hence, with Desktop Central, you will be able to manage desktops, laptops, mobile phones, tablets, servers, point of sale devices, and even browsers. Remember, guys, browser is also considered as an endpoint because most of the applications are being accessed through browsers now. Now, all this will be from a single console. Desktop Central is recognized in 4 top 2021 IDC market space reports for UEM. We are recognized as a 2020 Gartner Peer Insights Customer Choice for Unified Endpoint Management. We support Windows, Mac, and Linux, as well as Androids, iPhones, tablets, Surface Pro, Chromebooks, Apple TVs, etc. Please find the list of supported operating system on the screen. And just remember, the application server runs on the Windows platform, but you can manage the endpoints with Windows or Mac or Linux and the mobile phones. In case if you have any question, you can always reach out to support. Please refer to the email address shown at the bottom of the screen. Now, why do enterprise need asset management? Important question. Now, I've got the important part here. One will be compliant and audit ready at all the time. You might need an in-depth, detailed report, and you need to keep track of all your softwares and hardwares which is used in your organization, and to monitor the software license. Now, using Desktop Central Agent, what kind of data is collected during the scan? Now, instead of showing you this, I'm going to take you guys to the console and show you a few settings first. So as soon as the agent is installed, when I say agent is installed, that means Desktop Central is a client server model application, meaning you will have the web server, which can be on-premise. You can install it on any Windows platform. The web server can be on the cloud as well. And the agent, as I mentioned in the beginning, you can install it on Windows, Mac, or Linux, and through MDM, you can enroll your mobile devices as well. Now, as soon as you install the agent does a full inventory scan, full scan. This setting can be found under the agent and then agent settings. You have an option here that says actions to be performed after agent installation. So perform inventory scan. So this will be the first full scan, but after this, you need to schedule a periodical scan, maybe like daily basis or weekly basis or based on your schedule. This can be done under the inventory section and schedule scan. So you have the option to have your own scheduler. Now during this periodical scan, it's not going to be a full scan. Just remember this, it's going to be a differential scan. So only the differential data will be collected by the agent and posted to the server. This is to efficiently manage the data transfer between the agent and server, and it's not supposed to choke your network bandwidth. Now, what are the details that are collected during an inventory scan? So I'm going to pick my own machine here. So as soon as the agent is installed, during the first scan, it's going to fetch the disk usage, OS summary, service tag and serial number. Expiry date will be automatically fetched from the vendor website using API. System information like services that are running on this machine, user details, group information, drivers that are used. Even if the drivers are not working, we will be able to show you the working status of it, that it is not working. And a relevant KB article will also be shown. And share information, hardware detail, like what kind of hardware being used on this machine, whether the hardware is working okay or not, software that are currently installed and used. If you find unauthorized application, you can have it uninstalled from here. And we will also show you Microsoft Store app, certificate information like the certificates that are used on this machine and their expiry date, file details, security information, whether BitLocker is enabled or not. If it is enabled, you can fetch the recovery key from the console itself. Antivirus information, like which antivirus you're using, whether it's a Windows Defender or a third-party antivirus, which one is enabled, whether it is up to date, what version it uses, every single information. Same goes with firewall as well, like Windows Firewall or third-party firewall. And USB audit will tell you what kind of USB device they use, when was it used, how long they've been using this device. So you will have the complete picture of the endpoint that you have the agent installed. Apart from this, we have this modern management features called geotracking, geofencing, which I mentioned earlier. So if you enroll the device through MDM, you should be able to locate the device if it has GPS in it as well. So there will be one more tab on this page where you can see the geotracking, which will be discussed on a later part. Now, let me take you guys back to the console here. So as I mentioned, these are the details that are fetched during this inventory scan. Now, as I explained earlier, during the initial scan, it's going to be a full scan as soon as the agent is installed. Later on, based on your schedule, it will be a differential scan. Now, the first scenario, John wants to identify the unauthorized applications. How is he going to do that? Now, we have this option called prohibit software, which is available under the inventory section itself. So you can go to the prohibit software and you have the ability to create a rule. So you can simply go over here. For example, I'm going to block all the 7-zip. Okay, so I'm going to select the 7-zip here, and then I'll save it. Now, this will tell you the number of machines that has this application installed. And I would like to highlight one more thing here. We always recommend you to go with silent uninstallation, meaning no end user prompts. Say, for example, you have an exe on your machine, right? You double click that, it gives you a user agreement. You click agree, and then you choose the path where it needs to be installed, and then you click next, 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 and complete the process, right? Those kind of prompts should be eliminated here. So if it's an MSI type of application, by default, it will go through silently. No arguments, no switches, nothing is needed. But if it's an exe, you have to configure the exact silent uninstallation switch. Most of the software uses switches like /yes, silent, quiet, qn, very silent. So these are commonly used switches, but every software is unique. Okay, so you have to get these arguments from the respective vendor and paste it here. Alternatively, let me also give you a small tip. Whenever a software is installed, if you go to the registry edit, registry, and then there's this location, right? You might have already know this. So if you go to this uninstallation hive, every software that you install will have the uninstallation string. For example, for DroidCam, you can find the quiet uninstallation string here. So you can simply copy the string from here itself. And while you configure this, you can simply say, I will specify myself, and then you can enter the argument and save it. Now that you identified it, and then you added the silent uninstallation argument. Now, whenever this has been detected in my network, I want this to be automatically uninstalling it, right? So to do that, you can simply go over here, auto uninstallation policy, select enable automatic uninstallation, and you can also show a customized message. So you can put your own message here. This message will be shown. Now let me take you guys back to the presentation again. This is how the screen, the message will look like on the end user screen. Like whatever the message that you provide will be shown here, and the end user has the ability to even send you a request. For example, he has a valid reason to use that application and he wants to use it. So he can also, loop, their respective managers or IR officials. They can put their own purpose, right? And then they can send this request. This request will be shown here on the console under the user request tab. And you have the ability to even approve or deny it. So I'm sorry, I do not have an example here, but in the same page, under the, action, you have an option, like you will have a button like approve or deny. If you approve it, they get to use the application. If you deny it, based on your auto uninstallation policy, it gets automatically uninstalled. So this way, you can, create a rule, find the unauthorized application, and have it automatically uninstall. And we do have one more add-on called the application control, which will be discussed on a later part, in the upcoming training, where you will have more features and functionalities. All right, kindly do subscribe for the upcoming trainings. And hope the explanation is clear right now for the prohibit software. If you have any question, please use the chat window. We have an expert panel to answer all your queries. Right. So next scenario, managing Office 365 license. Now, let me be upfront here. Desktop Central does not validate the license, whether it's a valid license or it's a pirated version. If it's being downloaded from a web, nothing will be fetched. What we have here is to give you a view based on a rule in a sense. For example, I'll go to the inventory section here, manage license. I have the ability to add the license here. For example, I choose the same 7-zip again. Just to show you guys an example, I can add the 7-zip, and you can also notice that it says group. I'll come back to that in a minute. Okay. So and in here you will be adding like the number of license you purchased. Now in this case, for Office 365, you will add it, and then you will add the license count. Let's say I've added 100. Now it will find the number of machine that has this application installed. So you will have a difference in count, like total purchase minus number of network installation. And if it goes more than the count that you entered, we can generate an alert to you as well. So here under the configure alert, you can simply enable this option, license usage limit. So when the limit goes, above the percent that you mentioned here, it will automatically trigger an alert to you. So this way you can efficiently manage the software license as well. Now let's talk about the grouping. Let me take you guys back here. Now in your network, it's not going to be the same version of the software, right? It will be different versions. Now, in order to avoid duplicates, you can simply group them all. So go to group software under the same manage license option, and then you can create groups. For example, I'll edit the same 7-zip again. So I put a name for 7-zip group, and then I search here. And then once I search, this will be listing out, and then I can add it here, okay? And then I can add the latest version as parent. Once I add that, I can even add this option here, like, any version that comes after this, you don't have to, add it like manually every time. It will be automatically added. So this group will be automatically updated whenever there's a new version identified within your network. So this way, you are avoiding duplicates for multiple versions of the same software, right? So when you create the license rule, instead of selecting a specific version, you can select the group itself. And then I'll say like I know I purchased like 50 license. So I say license purchased, and then I add. This is going to tell me the number of network installation, remaining count, whether it's over license. If it goes more than the count, then it will be in red color and it will say under license. Trust my explanation is clear again. If you guys have any question, kindly do post your queries on the chat. Now, the last scenario, which would be integrating service desk. Service desk is one of the ticketing solutions that we offer from Manage Engine. It's not only the service desk that can be integrated. You can integrate other third-party solutions as well, which I will explain in a minute. Now, this integration will be done through APIs. All right. So let me quickly take you guys back to the console and the benefits of using this integration. You will have like single console. You don't have to switch back and forth. You can have all your ticketing solution, asset management, change management, even from the desktop center, like patch management, software installation, remote control, tools like system manager access, chat, voice and video call, everything from a single console. So you will have one console which gives you more functionalities that you need to manage your entire enterprise, right? Now, how do I integrate it? As I mentioned, we integrate through APIs, right? So to do that, you can go to the desktop central console under the admin tab. If you go here under the integration, you have the option to generate the API key from the desktop central. So you have to fetch a key from the desktop central and then go to the service desk settings, admin. And then in here under the apps and add-ons, you have the integrations. In here, you can use the desktop central. You can simply click this. And remember with the latest concept, concept in the sense, we are moving towards unified agent. So it's going to be one agent for all our Manage Engine solutions, okay? And that will be the desktop central agent. So I will enter that API key here, the host name of the machine where the application is installed, the desktop central, and the port it uses, right? Same way, you have to fetch the API key from the service desk. You can do it from here under the the user profile where you see the generate API, and then you can fetch the API key from here. Go back to the desktop central console, admin. Under the same integration, you have service desk plus settings. I'm going to modify this. So I say modify. I'm going to enter the host name or the IP of the service desk plus machine, and then the port number it uses, protocol, and the API key. Once I enter it, it is going to ask you like what kind of data that you want to post it to service desk. Important, by default, all the asset data will be posted, so that will be grayed out. Additionally, you can also import. Post all your mobile data, like the mobile that are enrolled, the asset data, and then the end user will be able to send a request. Remember, while I was explaining about prohibit software, the end user has the ability to send requests, right? The same request can be created as a ticket in your service desk, and from the service desk console, through that ticket, you have the ability to push software, uninstall software, everything, right? and they have the ability to raise tickets using the desktop central agent, and then remote control, advanced remote control, which I will show you guys in a minute. So all these will be sent to the service desk. Now I'm going to show you guys the functionalities on service desk. Now integration is done, data being posted, agent does the scan. Now the architecture will be like this. Okay, after you integrate, I've mentioned about the benefits already. So let me quickly show you guys the architecture. So agent does the scan, sends that information to the server. Now server will post an XML file, the asset scan data to the service desk. So this will be vice versa. So the communication will go back and forth between desktop central server and the service desk plus server. Now from this console itself, as I mentioned, you have the ability to do everything from here. Now to show you guys, I'm gonna quickly show you a quick example. For example, I want to see the same hardware summary, right? I can go here, hardware, the same manage license tab, right? I can fetch that details here, or say I would like to deploy a software right now to that client machine. So I can simply go here, create a configuration, whatever the packages that you created, meaning the software deployment packages that can be shown here. You can select the respective package, choose a policy, choose your target, and deploy, right? And one of the main features when it comes to doing an a ticketing, say you receive a ticket, right? And you would like to give the end user an immediate remote assistance. Now what you do is you can simply go over here, remote control, and then click connect, and then you can enter the service desk ticket ID and the reason for connecting. So for now I'm going to show you guys an example. Since I'm going to connect my own screen, this will loop in. Okay, so I'm going to move the screen to the right. Okay, so I'll move to the right. So you have the ability to take remote control right away, and then you can assist the end user, and you have some admin functionalities as well. Remember, I also mentioned you have the ability to do text chat, voice call, video call, file transfer, admin functionalities, and then quick launches. So all these from a single console. Trust the explanation is clear. So if you guys need any assistance for this integration and how the integration works, remember you can always reach us through support channel, and you can also feel free to ask your questions right now on the chat. Now apart from this, through Desktop Central, remember I mentioned we do have the feature called application control. You can simply find that. Sorry, let me fetch another console. So these are add-ons. Let me quickly show you guys that as well, which again will be explained later during the upcoming trainings. I'm just going to show you a little heads up on this. So just bear with me for a few seconds. Sorry about the delay. Few more seconds, please. All right. So once you integrate the add-ons, you have the option called App Control, which gives you an option to have your own set of approved software list, as well as you can blacklist an application too. So once you have the approved software list, the end user will not be able to install or use any application apart from what you approve, right? So all these can be done through application control. So stay connected to to our upcoming training. You will be able to get all this information through our upcoming training. All right. Now, remember I mentioned it's not only the service desk plus we integrate, we do support third-party integrations as well, and we also provide APIs. So you can integrate Spiceworks, ServiceNow, Jira, Zendesk, Zoho Creator, Zoho CRM, all this from the console itself. So you can go to the admin tab here, and then you have the under the same integration option, you have the respective integration option. And for API Explorer, we fetch most of the APIs which can be used. You can leverage these APIs to fetch reports, using your third-party tool as well. Hope all the details that I've provided is useful. Let's quickly go through the Desktop Central architecture here. So remember I mentioned we support both on-prem as well as cloud infrastructure. So if it's going to be an on-prem solution, it's going to be the agent that's going to connect to the server. So we support both local network connection as well as WAN links. Even if the user are roaming and working from home, you should be able to manage them. Okay. Now, if you'd like to manage an endpoint that's not within your network, we always recommend you to use Secure Gateway. Secure Gateway is nothing but a security layer which validates the traffic that comes from the agent and then routes the traffic to the desktop central server. When it comes to mobile device management, we also leverage third-party tools like for Android, we use Firebase cloud messaging services, and for iOS, we use Apple push notification services, and for Windows, we use Windows notification services, right? So we leverage all the third-party services as well to give you a better user experience from a single console. Now, Desktop Central is also available in Azure and AWS Marketplace. So you can also, I mean, if you have any of these in the infrastructure, you can simply use these infrastructure as well. And as I mentioned, Desktop Central is available in our own Zoho Cloud. So if you'd like to subscribe our own cloud instance, please use the link which is shown at the bottom of the screen. So that's it from my side, guys. Hope the session was useful and the information that I given was useful to you guys. I'm going to hand over this thing to my colleague Ruben. Ruben, over to you.
Thank you, James. Thank you for walking us on the inventory module of Desktop Central. I'll take over and describe about the mobile device management features and how we can manage the modern endpoints. Before we proceed, my name is Ruben, as mentioned, and I'm a product specialist and associated with Manage Engine for the past 7 years. And I also do the training and implementation for the endpoint products. So before we move on, please confirm if you're able to hear my voice and view the presentation. Thank you. So first, I'm going to show you how we could distribute certain basic configuration profiles to your Windows laptops, and followed by I'll also show you how you could do that for your MacBooks as well. So these are certain basic settings which you could apply or configure through the mobile device management component. So you have it this way. So this is how the Desktop Central MDM console looks like. And you do have the standalone MDM solution, like which was dedicated for the modern devices alone. As of now, let me show you how we could configure certain basic policies. And before that, as James showed you what are the details you could see from a laptop on the Desktop Central inventory, here within MDM, you could still see some basic information about your laptops, like what version it runs on, and the device information like UDID, serial number details, and the battery level percentage, and also what are the store apps. This will tell you the business store apps installed on your computers. It's not the MSI or EXE. It's all about the store apps and what certificates are distributed, and moreover, what type of restrictions you've applied, whether you restricted camera or any particular setting based on your business use cases. If you like to check, you can also see those options under the restrictions tab here. And also you can check the location of your computers as well. So this is what the inventory data, which can be additionally collected within the Desktop Central MDM module. Now to start with, as I mentioned about profiles, so in line to your Active Directory username and password, you will also be able to configure the passcode policy, like what should be the passcode length and how frequently they have to change it. Like say, I want my users to change the passcode every 90 days, like every 3 months, I want them to keep updating their passcode for security reasons. And moreover, if a device is lost or stolen and you don't want to lose your corporate data available on your endpoint, you do have an option of restricting the passcode attempts. Like say, if any user or if the device is lost and if someone tries to unlock your devices by entering like the wrong passcode for more than 6 times consecutively, it will automatically reset, making sure everything on the device data is deleted. So this will users will also be prompted about this. They have only 4 attempts remaining or 2 attempts remaining, and once that is exceeded, it's going to automatically reset. So this is you can configure based on your business need, and then you can also configure Wi-Fi. Say whenever the as we are working in the hybrid models these days, like sometimes at work from homes, and then we started coming to offices these days. So if you want to keep updating the Wi-Fi profiles to all your users, you do have an options to do it, where you can choose the Wi-Fi accessory what you have or what you're using in your corporate network, and also mention what type of protocol you're using for the Wi-Fi password. And not just one profile, you can also add multiple profiles based on your needs, and make sure you have this option enabled, connect to Wi-Fi automatically. So what will happen here is whenever the user steps inside these corporate network ranges, the Wi-Fi profile will be automatically connected on their laptops. And moreover, if you would like to configure VPN and perhaps VPN even, so whenever the user uses Outlook or any corporate application, at that particular time, I want that to be connected through the corporate network alone. Then you can make sure which VPN you guys are using it, and you'll be able to update the server details and distribute these profiles. So this is how we could create multiple profiles based on your business use cases and be able to distribute your devices from the MDM module. And to do that, you save and publish this profile, go to groups and devices, select the appropriate groups you have, and you distribute the profiles you've created. And moreover, if you would like to lock your devices within a particular application alone, say even though if you have some Surface Hub or even if you have some Windows laptop, like a point of sale devices, um, you do have an option to lock them with certain applications alone. So kiosk is, we call it as app lock mode, where you could lock your laptops with only certain applications. Like I want my users to see only these four or the required application alone. So only these 3 apps will be visible on the device. And so that's how the device can be locked out with the kiosk mode. So this is just an image of for your reference to show how a device would look like once after the kiosk policies are applied. The users will not be able to download any apps of their own choice and also be able to browse anything apart from the restrictions you've applied. So this is for Windows. Now let me show you for MacBooks as well, like what are the profiles you can do it for Mac. You go to mobile device management, you have the management section here where you could create the profiles. So like whatever I showed you for the uh, inventory details, which you could see it with an MDM for Windows, the same can also be seen for Mac OS as well. Like you can still be able to locate your MacBooks too and be able to see the list of restrictions applied. And I'll also show you that. So these are the inventory details, which you could see it for a MacBook and the same information. Additionally, you would have the security settings tab too, where you can see whether the device is encrypted with file vault and what about the recovery key and the geo-tracking, and also what are the user accounts active likewise. And with the profiles, so same way, you can also configure the passcode policy for your MacBook and the restriction if you would like to restrict any settings based on your need, like based on the business use cases, you have these options also. And you can prevent the users from taking screenshots or installing apps of their own choice. And likewise, Wi-Fi, same way you can create multiple Wi-Fi profiles. And you do have web content filter here where you can also um, restrict websites on your devices. And moreover, this is another interesting feature which you can make use of it for your MacBooks through the desktop Central MDM. So where you can encrypt your Mac operating systems through MDM profile. And you can also choose whether you would like to encrypt using a personal recovery key, and would you like to display these key details to the users, or say institutional level recovery key where you can create a certificate and you do have the step-by-step instruction to create the certificate, the recovery certificate for file vault encryption. You can go through those steps here. And I would recommend you to go with the combination of both. If you like to, that will be more secure managing your endpoints too. So you can go with a personal and institutional level recovery key for encrypting your MacBooks, and you'll be able to choose a certificate, save this profile, and be able to distribute. So this is one such settings which you can apply to your MacBooks. And even though, as I mentioned, in case if the device is lost or stolen, and if someone tries to enter or enter into your MacBooks to steal the corporate data, you do have the firmware password protections which you can create again using the MDM profile. So if any of your managed MacBook is being lost, or say someone tries to unlock the MacBooks during the boot up state itself, you do have an option to restrict that using a firmware password. So you can lock them with a secure passcode. And apart from the internal storage devices, if anyone tries to unlock them using an additional startup disk, it will be prompted to enter a recovery passcode, and which only after entering that details or the passcode information, the operating system can be booted up. So these two options, like file vault encryption and recovery lock or firmware passcode, would be a beneficial option for managing your Mac devices using the desktop Central UVM edition. And moreover, as I mentioned, if you like to check the recovery key details or the file wall encryption key information, you can go to the MDM inventory and be able to check that details under the security settings. So you have that option here. And even if you like to rotate these keys on a timing basis, you do have the options to do it under the actions tab. So you can just check those recovery key information. And even if you like to rotate it, you do have that option to be done from the inventory actions tab. So this is how you could create the profile based on your business cases and be able to distribute your devices. And now I would also like to show you how we could remotely distribute contents and files through our MDM. So this will help you to securely share your corporate data, because sometimes when you try to transfer any files or a zip file, even maybe it there are certain filters like email filters which might not let you to share the files across your users. And you might also wonder to find you have to either upload it in a drive and be able to share the link. But if you want to make sure you would like to securely share the data like files or folders or images or document, and not allow the users to modify it. Like say if you are trying to share a company policy document or an IT statement. Likewise, if you would like to share it to the users but not allow them to modify it or misuse it, then you can go to the content management feature available within the solution, where you can add the required documents, audio, images, any type of files based on your need, and be able to upload them to your list. And you do have an option. So, but generally, if you just select this files, whatever you've added, and share it with your users across, the users can go to the Manage Engine MDM app. They will have a content catalog where they can see the list of documents being published, and they'll not be able to download it, take a screenshot, or edit it, or unless and until the administrators give permissions for the users to download the file. So you have to create a policy and choose whether you want to allow the users to download the file or modify the files or take a screenshot even. Unless and until you create a policy and tie that to the documents you have added, only then the users can download it. Okay? So if not, it will just be like a read-only mode. The users can only go to the content catalog section, see the list of files you've shared, and they can download this, view the documents, whatever you have shared, and only that they can do it or be able to modify or edit this document. And you do have an option to categorize your files. Like say you are trying to share certain company documents or financial files like this, you'll be able to create a category when you add the files even, and we'll be able to give a description and tags to it. So this is how you securely share your content, the data to your either to your Windows or MacBooks or even to your mobile devices using the content management feature. And now, as I mentioned about the file vault or former password, same way if a device, if a mobile phone or a tablet is lost stolen and you don't want to lose the corporate data available on the devices, first of all, you could go to the inventory devices section and click on either the device you have, and you have the options to first initiate its location tracking. And moreover, when it comes to geo-tracking for laptops, like for Windows 10, 11, and MacBook, you'll be able to find the current location. But when it comes to smartphones and tablets, you do have an option to check the location history. So if you'd like to track where exactly the device has traveled on so days or the moments, you'll be able to check those informations as well, and the timing where exactly they were at so time. You can check those details for smartphones too. So to come back to the scenario, say in case if the device is lost, I would recommend you to go to the inventory device section, initiate a location tracking first, and then you do have an option called last mode, so which will completely freeze the device. So the only option the users can do is to call this number alone, and you do have an options to customize the message. The device is lost. You can choose whatever content you want, and that will only be displayed, and the users cannot put this device into they cannot unlock the device, they cannot turn off the device. No actions will work apart from just calling this number whatever you specified. So this is a way where you could make sure the device is not broken, or you don't lose the corporate data available on the devices. And whenever a user reports that its device is lost or stolen, an admin can come to the inventory under MDM and be able to initiate or enable this last mode, unless and until the user or the admin goes and disable this last mode, the users will not be able to unlock the phone. So even when you when you enable the last mode, you do have an option to enforce the security policies. As like you can also change the passcode and be able to lock the phone, even because sometimes the employees as users might have configured an easy detecting passcode like 1234 or based like a simple patterns. Even if you like to change or reset the passcode and then enable this mode, you'd have an option to do it from the inventory tab. And moreover, even for a laptop, like say if you're a Windows laptop, it's been lost, it's stolen, and you don't want to take a chance, you would like to wipe the corporate data available on the devices, like corporate mails and document, whatever you've shared, you do have that option available under the inventory section again. So you have two wiping for laptops and the smartphones and all. So corporate wipe will remove whatever data or policies or settings or applications you distributed through our product will be wiped off immediately. This corporate wipe will only remove all the settings, whatever you distributed through our product. So you might use this in many scenarios, not just only if the device is lost or stolen. Say the user is trying to change the device, or the user is leaving the organization and you don't want to touch any of the personal details, but just remove the corporate application, then you can go with the corporate wipe. And in case if you're going to hand over this very same mission to another user and you want to wipe it completely, then you do have the complete wipe. It is like resetting the PC. So this will delete everything, leaving just the operating system and the C drive behind. So you have two wiping options within MDM for laptops and MacBook, like for mobile devices as well, where you can do a corporate wipe and complete wipe. And this is how the device screen would look like, and the last mode is enabled, so the users will not be able to, even though they hit on back, it will still be the same screen. So the users will not be able to do any other actions apart from calling this number. And I would like to share certain real-time scenarios what I faced to the support experience with respect to the model management for Windows 10, 11, and MacBook. Say the first scenario I wanted to show you here today is we use Active Directory in the organization, and is it possible to remotely add the MacBooks which is enrolled into the MDM to our organization Active Directory? Yes, indeed, it is possible to do it now, and let me show you that. Go to Profiles again. You have the options to Mac OS. You have AD asset binding here, where you can choose the operating system you have, and if you like to add the MacBooks to a particular OUs under your AD domain, you do have an option to configure that as well. So you have, and moreover, if you would like to give access to only within the network, meaning only if the domain controller, that is the Active Directory domain controller, is accessible from the MacBooks or you're trying to assign it to, only if the domain controller is accessible, the users can unlock and then be able to log into the MacBooks, the machines. If you go with mobile, either using any network, like even though the domain controller is not accessible, still they'll be able to use the AD username and password to sign in. So these are the two access types you can configure and be able to create a profile like this, and you'll be able to distribute to whichever devices you want. Like if you're deploying this to a group of Mac users, you do have that all those Mac machines. Maybe you can go to the devices section here. You have the filters too, where you can choose only the MacBooks here, and I can select all those MacBook and apply the profile, so which has the AD asset binding feature enabled, and all these MacBooks will be added to the appropriate domain, and we'll get access based on the set configurations I've created here. So this way, you can even assign or map your MacBooks to your organization Active Directory. And I would like to find the locations of my workstations. We generally we do have the option to do it for a smartphone, but yes, as I just showed you, you do have an option to find out the location of your workstations within the Managed in MDM. That's the Geotracking feature. And you can enable this based on the business need. Either you can enable or disable the settings. And also if you'd like to find out the location of your devices, only certain devices, you do have an option to choose the group, and only those group of devices can be tracked. And if you don't want to find the save the location history, just want to know about the current location alone, then you can even disable the location history settings here. So these are the options you can configure based on the business need and be able to save it. And is it possible to decide the data which is being fetched and displayed the same to the MDM management? Yes, because if you'd like to know what are the details the solution collects, and if you would like to show the same to your users as well, you have the options under the settings tab, device privacy, where you can customize like what information you want to collect and what not. So based on the inputs, the same will also be shown under the Manage Engine MDM app within the devices, and so they will have a separate policy called device privacy, where they can see whether the admin collects the phone number, or say if you choose, I don't want to know about the phone number details, and the location history, yes, I want, and user installed apps, I don't mind, let them install whatever apps they wish. I don't want to see that. Likewise, if you're managing BYOD model, like personal employees' own devices, you have those settings which you can customize and apply this only to BYOD, not for corporate phones. So corporate devices, I can track all those options. So I can create a device privacy settings based on the need and be able to save this, and the same will also be displayed to the users on the app. Like when they open the MEMDM app, they will see a separate options called device privacy and be able to see that. And how do I secure the personal information when it is being downloaded or exported as reports? Because as you know, inventory is basically where you mostly make use of it for the inventory details, like the asset information. And you do have an option to schedule reports based on it. Like say on a week-on-week basis, I would like to know what are the recently installed apps on the devices. I would like to take a report on that. And likewise, based on your need, you can go ahead with any of these inventory reports, even BitLocker information or antivirus details, and soon to expire warranties. So these are predefined reports which is available and which you can even take a report about it. At the same time, if you want to schedule it, like say, I want these reports to be sent every Monday morning, or like say Monday and Friday, I would like to check these reports at morning 10 or 11 based on your need. You can choose the time and also choose the type of reports you want to send these to. And And if you're sending this report on a monthly basis to your auditors as well, and during that time, you don't want to send these reports or personal information to your auditors or external uh, reporting persons for for data security, you do have an option to choose what type of information needs to be downloaded and what details the users can actually collect. So for that, you go to Settings tab. You have Export Settings here. For now, it is mentioned that the personal information is not it's not masked, it's not removed. So if I take a report with this current settings, I'll show you how the reporting will look like. And after I mask it, like what are the details that will be here. These are, you can also enable the required columns and take out a report based on your needs. So if I'm doing it for this, so as of now, as you could see, all those details, all those columns has been enabled like as it is. But if I go and modify the settings and make sure the personal information are masked or hidden, like you can choose either of these options. And so that is what, either when you do it for scheduling the reports or when you manually export the data, you can choose the appropriate settings. Say generally we used to go with this way. So they do not mask when they manually export the information, but when they do it on scheduled basis or when they share the reports to the appropriate auditors on via email, at that time you can make use of this masking options. And after doing this way, if I go and take out a report, so the personal information like username, email address, and telephone numbers and UDID details is all being masked like this. So this is a simple option which you can make use of it based on your business needs, like for data security. Either when you manually take a report or you send it via emails or based on the need, you can customize this option, and that is available under the MDM settings and the export settings. So these are a few scenarios which I wanted to share on today's session. Now, you feel free to post any questions you have with respect to MDM inventory or the desktop central inventory, and we'll be able to update the answers for it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much,
Ruben, and thank you very much, James. That was a wonderful presentation. And folks, we will be answering questions live. We will try to see the list of questions that we already have to see if we can answer it, and then we will also be looking at the questions that are coming in as well. Right. So one of the common questions that we usually get is the recording of the session. Yes, it will be emailed to you once the session is over. So you will get it in a couple of days, the recording of the whole session. All right. Perfect. So first question would be related to, is there an option to create an acceptable or allowed software list or a blacklist of software or prohibited softwares? James, if you are there, please go ahead and share the screen and probably talk about prohibit software and also application control add-on that's available.
Sure.
James, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear. Sorry, I was on mute. So thank you, Santosh. So I'm going to quickly share my screen. Just a sec. Hope my screen is visible again. So as he was mentioning, the prohibit software is available under the inventory section itself. You have the ability to add a rule. When you add this rule, it allows the end user to install the application, but it will be reported back to you, and then it will be automatically uninstalled, right? So during our first session, I was explaining like you have the option here to add your software list. Even if it has multiple versions, you have the option to group them together under the manage license option. Once it is added, you can create a prohibit software rule. But when it comes to application control, you have the complete control of what software that can be installed, because in here you have the option to create your own list of software that can be approved. For example, I go here under the application control and I go to application group and I create a white list saying that these are my approved softwares. Like I can go either based on vendor or product name or file hash or even executable. For example, I'm going to allow all the applications from Adobe, and then I'm going to allow all the applications from Dell. Let's say I need to add one specific software, so I go based on product name now. So I'm going to allow, for example, Microsoft Visual C++, and then I create this list. Once I add this list, right, I have to distribute this list either to all the computers that has the agent installed. We support Windows at the moment, so you should be able to distribute this policy to all the machines or go based on group by group. For example, if you say I have sales team, I have marketing, I have contractors. So for contractors, these are the approved softwares only. These are the software that they're supposed to use. And for IT, it will be different. So you can have multiple list of softwares. You can create it, and then this can be deployed. So I go here, deploy policy, and have the ability to add that here. So associate policy, select a group. So we have this default group called all computers group. You can select that, or you can select based on your group as well. Like as I mentioned, sales, marketing, or contractors. And we have two options here. One is the audit mode. The other one is the strict mode. Strict mode, it's basically, for example, you whitelisted like 5 applications, right? Now, only 5 applications can be, whichever the application that you approved, they cannot install any new application. There's something called gray listed application, okay? For example, you enroll the device now, and then you are going to implement this policy to a client machine where the client machine already has 15 softwares, okay, 15. Now, within that 15, only 10 are approved, but the application is already installed on that machine. So when you put this policy in strict mode, it will allow them to use the 10 that are approved, even the applications that are already installed. The rest of the 5, we call that as gray listed application. Those applications will also be blocked. But when you go with audit mode, it's going to allow them to use both whitelisted as well as gray listed application, but they cannot install any new application. Even they cannot execute any portable exe. Say they have an exe on their thumb drive or external storage, it will straight away block them. So this is the application control for you guys. And prohibit software application control will have more features as well, where you can give temporary access, for a specific user if needed, all that. All right. So I believe I've given almost all the information. Thank you.
Thanks, James. So if you need more information, you probably can refer to our Unified Endpoint Security webinar for more information on application control and other security add-ons that we have. Right. Sure that you can refer that. And going to the next one is, do we have a mobile app just like Desktop Central Server? Yes, we do. You can get that mobile app on admin, and you will have a mobile application where you can download, scan the QR and probably download it, or you can show that out. Thank you. So you can download these mobile application, and you should be able to install them as well. Perfect. Let's go to the next question. So I think the other question would be something related to the mobile application, mobile devices, I think. Ruben, I think you can take this question. Is there a difference between managing laptops through MDM and Desktop Central Agent?
There is no difference. That's what, with respect to the management scope, you can avail the features. So within MDM, like even if you say, this might be answered this way, right? Where if you would like to go with standalone mobile manager plus for managing your laptops, you get to only be able to locate your device, distribute the Wi-Fi profiles, VPN settings, and likewise, and be able to have this geo-tracking and wiping. But if you ask about patching or inventory, where you could do of this license management on software, or even if you want to remotely install an EXE or MSI, these management scopes are not possible with just the MDM alone, like with the standalone MDM alone. So when you have a unified endpoint for workstation, you get to take care of the modern aspect and also the traditional management features. I will put it that way.
Thanks, Ruben. And one other question related to the modern devices is that corporate wipe, will it reinitialize the device? Will it reset it, or what happens on the corporate wipe?
Right. So on a corporate wipe, it will not reset the entire device. It will only remove whatever settings and profile installed, which in turn will also remove the MDM profile. So the device goes unmanaged as soon as you do this corporate wipe on the devices. Okay. So it will not reset the entire piece. It's not an option like this, where this reset is something we call it as complete wipe, that it deletes everything and was just leaving the OS behind. Whereas the corporate wipe, what you do here will only remove the policies and the profiles and the data or document, whatever you achieve as distributed through our solution, and which in turn will also remove the MDM profile install on it. So the device goes unmanaged once after the corporate wipe is initiated.
Perfect. Thank you. And another question, what might be the benefit of adding Mac devices that are enrolled to MDM to my Active Directory? What is the benefit I get if my Mac devices are enrolled to my Active Directory?
Based on reporting, I would say, because if you like to have all your endpoints under your domain we do support AD reports, as you know. If you like to see them on the AD reports here, and which you might also make use of it for your data populations or anything as such, you can add them. Apart from feature-wise, if you ask, say even you want to deploy a software or a patch to your AD groups, we do have configurations which you can deploy to your Active Directory groups, right? Like you can select these packages and deploy it to your Active Directory groups. So which in turn, adding your new MacBooks to the appropriate AD domains or the OUs will have these configurations also auto-deployed, either a patch or a software. If you have targeted to an appropriate Active Directory OUs, these configurations will be auto-deployed to the MacBooks as well. These are certain benefits, I could say.
Perfect. All right. So thank you, Ruben. One more question is that, sorry, I just missed that question. So is there a presentation that comes up with autopilot of desktop autopilot? So for autopilot maybe enrolling into the Azure autopilot is available on the last session, onboarding of endpoints. So the final session of this series, that's on March 2nd. We'll be talking about it. So if you wanted to have a live session, we will be doing that on March 2nd. But again, my colleague has also shared the link that talks about autopilot enrollment. You could watch those as well, right? So that's what question. And is it a best practice to add all my laptops to MDM, or is it automatically added? That's a very good question. Ruben, do you want to show that how Windows 10 automatically enrolls once you install the agent?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Right. Either way, so when you have a UEM edition, either you can have the desktop central agent deployed, which will have the MDM profile automatically deployed. So whichever computer or the workstation, whichever has the desktop central agent, will automatically have the MDM profile, and it will get listed under the stage tab like this. So all your laptops will get listed under the stage tab, wherein you can assign a user and move them to the manage tab. So generally it would be like this. That's what, either you install the desktop central agent, and which will have the MDM profile deployed. If not, as you asked even now, the question about the Azure enrollment, even if you add your workstations through Azure enrollment into MDM, this will even enable the desktop central agent by default once after you have the UEM edition. So either way.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ruben. Probably one last question is what I'm checking, which one we could answer. I think that should all be it. Rest of the questions are already taken care. So I think this should be it. To go back to the live QAs. Yeah. Thanks. So thank you all for patiently listening to the session. And please do rate us on a scale of 5 while you leave, where 5 being the best. This would help us to improve the future sessions, right? And yeah, you could spread a word on the social media as well. And the next training schedule is about the OS deployment and remote management of endpoints. That's coming up next week. Please do register on our link to know more about the upcoming trainings. Like I said, even for the Azure Autopilot, register for the onboarding session that's on March 2nd. With that, we have come to the end of the session. Thank you very much for patiently listening. And I hope the session was informative for you. And one last thing, if you'd like to have a personalized demo of any of our products, please feel free to leave your details with us on the chat. I think we can get the details from the registration itself. So if you need any demonstration of our product or one-on-one sessions, just let us know in the chat which product you want demonstration for. We will take it from there and we will get in touch with you with our technician. Or you could always visit the link that is shown on the screen as well. So once again, thank you all for joining the session. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead. Bye-bye.